Night on Fox.
Welcome to Good Day Chicago in our 9 o'clock hour. Obviously, there is a lot going on in our city and in our world right now and this week. So let's get you caught up on some of the stories that we're following for this hour.
Well, we are following an investigation involving 2 Chicago police officers that were injured in a crash. This is a look at it here. This includes reports of shots being fired. Saquon is going to join us with a live report in just a few short minutes. But first, we're following some developments over in the Middle East.
U.S. and Israeli officials say they plan to continue their strikes on Iran until their military goals are met. Now, you can see those huge plumes of smoke into the air in several different areas. In this video just coming out this morning, the increased action stoking fears of a wider war. In fact, the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait is now addressing a moment after an attack. The U.S. military says that Kuwait mistakenly shot down 3 U.S. fighter planes. All 6 air crew were able to eject safely. Thank goodness. They are stable at the hospital right now. President Donald Trump says Iran will pay a price for the American troops killed thus far and injured so far as Iran strikes back.
And this morning, the Pentagon now confirms that 4 U.S. service members have been killed in the aftermath of the strikes from over the weekend. 5 other U.S. soldiers are seriously hurt. They were all based in Kuwait. Officials say that more than 500 people have been killed in Iran by strikes from both the U.S. and Israel. The U.S. and Israel continue to destroy hundreds of targets, including Iranian ballistic missile sites and air defense systems. Iran's supreme leader was killed during a strike on Saturday. The Pentagon held a press conference a little bit earlier this morning to discuss the incident.
Last June, Operation Midnight Hammer obliterated their nuclear program to rubble. Afterward, we told them plainly, that's it, now make a deal. They arrogantly refused. We said, rebuild it, and we'll stop you again, this time far worse. Well, President Trump, Secretary Rubio, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, they bent over backwards for real diplomacy, offering pathway after pathway to peace. I watched it. I was there. They tried over and over and over again earnest attempts at peace. The former regime had every chance to make a peaceful and sensible deal. But Tehran was not negotiating. They were stalling, buying time to reload their missile stockpiles and restart their nuclear ambitions. Their goal, hold us hostage, threatening to strike our forces. Well, President Trump doesn't play those games. And as Secretary Rubio said after the Maduro raid, if you don't know, now you know.
We expect to take additional losses, and as always, we will work to minimize U.S. losses. But as the Secretary said, this is major combat operations.
Our Anthony Ponce spoke to political science professor William Muck right after that press conference earlier this morning to get his reaction to some of those remarks.
The administration is going out of their way to say this is not another Iraq, right? How they're conducting the operation, suggesting that there aren't going to be boots on the ground. Think about the Venezuela operation, in and out, right? I mean, this is very much on their mind, and he was a little prickly about that. So it's clear that that is shaping much of their conversation. I think the other really, really fascinating thing about his remarks was he was suggesting this was the first time we saw a real explanation and justification for the operation. And that explanation was that Iran started this, that this United States was responding to a long-term conflict that Iran was waging against the United States, that they were developing a conventional umbrella to protect their nuclear ambitions. So it was interesting to see them say that this wasn't the United States that initiated this was Iran, and our hand was forced. So really interesting language there.
He was also very forceful in clarifying in his mind, the secretary, that this is not a nation-building exercise. He used the word, we're not going to get in a democracy-building quagmire, okay? How much stock can we put into those promises at this point in the game?
I think they're genuine, but this is where they run into the reality. What we know about regime change operations, right? It is very, very difficult to just do it through the air. I mean, go back to, there's a lot of political science on this. You go back to World War I, there's been no effective air campaign that has brought about democracy. So I think what we're seeing here is the administration is saying, hey, we're gonna bomb from the air. but it's up to the Iranians themselves to do the work on the ground, right? And that's very, very difficult to do. And we should be very clear that there's not a very good pathway to democracy with that type of plan. So we're starting to get a sense of what really the sort of the motivations and the tactics are going to be in this operation.
And Iran is promising payback. The military is leading the nation while a special counsel works to select a new supreme leader. Let's take a live look at the stock exchange right now. Those attacks on Iran have caused oil prices to spike, which means it could be a bad day on the stock market. Looks like stocks are trading down about 166 points so far on this Monday morning.
Crude oil prices are now up more than 8%. Iran is a major oil producer, of course, and controls a vital shipping lane for crude. Traders fear the conflict between the U.S. and Iran could lead to a major disruption in supply. This has caused stock futures to fall, including the Dow that we just saw there, which has dropped at points this morning already, 500 points. It's unclear how this will affect prices at the gas station, but suffice to say they will likely go up.
And on Capitol Hill, the reaction to the U.S. actions against Iran are, as you might expect, mixed. Many Republicans are backing the president's actions, including Peoria Representative Darren LaHood. He says, in part, President Trump and his team made every effort to provide the regime with a diplomatic off-ramp. But the safety and security of the American people must always remain our top priority. But many Democrats believe that this war is illegal. 10th District Representative Brad Schneider is also a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. In a statement, he says, given the Trump administration's failure to engage Congress in briefings, hearings, and debates, he will vote to support the War Powers Resolution coming to the floor of the House next week.
Well, the FBI is looking into the deadly mass shooting in downtown Austin, Texas, as a potential act of terrorism. The gunman was seen wearing an Iranian flag and a hoodie marked "Property of Allah." The man started shooting with a pistol and a rifle moments later outside Buford's Beer Garden on 6th Street early Sunday morning, killing 2 people, wounding 14 others in a very chaotic situation. Police on the scene killed the shooter. In Cincinnati, this is not believed to be an act of terrorism. 9 people, though, were wounded in a mass shooting there. It happened early Sunday morning at a music venue, and police say they are searching for suspects but did not give any other details. All 9 of the victims have been stabilized at a hospital. Back here at home, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson set to make a big announcement this morning at the World Business Chicago.
He just stepped forward to make his remarks. Let's take a listen.
For your leadership and the Gutman Theater, for hosting us and for being a shining example of our collective strengths. The collaboration between David Byrne and the Gutman represents how Chicago's cultural institutions advance innovation, active space, and it creates jobs. It is a kind of innovation and collaboration that helps our city to become the top U.S. metro time and time again. When nearly 1 in 5 qualifying corporate projects among the nation's top metros land in Chicago, that is a clear signal for our strengths and our staying power. Chicago is seated at the center of North American trade, where rail, road, air, and water intersect with unmatched volume and velocity. We operate the busiest multimodal freight network in the entire country. And this January, get ready you all, O'Hare International Airport was named the busiest airport in the country. In addition to that, it had the busiest summer in its 70-year history. Chicago is anchored by a powerful network of universities, national laboratories, and federal research centers that move our entire nation forward while attracting federal investments and talent to Chicago. But perhaps the most powerful thing of all is our people. We make up our 5.5 million person workforce across a wide variety of industries. Companies choose Chicago because of our infrastructure, our talent, our research capability, and unparalleled global connectivity. And that is a hard recipe for other cities to replicate. It is not just the strengths within the city limits that are attracting companies and investments here. Through the Greater Chicagoland Economic Partnership, city, county, and state leaders are aligned around a unified strategy to compete globally. By operating as one, we increase our scale and credibility. Being named the top U.S. metro once again is a point of pride for our city. But the data behind it matters, because that data really speaks to our people. When we grow our economy and attract investments, we expand our tax base, we create jobs, and we can fund the public services that our residents rely upon. Economic growth is a crucial component of my administration's commitment to building a safer, more affordable city for everyone. And it is reflected in the, as Phil indicated, the Chicago 2050, the long-term economic growth strategy that's championed by my administration and implemented by World Business Chicago and many ecosystem partners. Chicago 2050 outlines our path to grow our regional economy by approximately $950 billion today to more than $1.4 trillion by 2050. That would represent a 50% expansion of our economic base over the next generation. I know that's ambitious, but it is certainly possible. I want to acknowledge and thank WBEC CEO Phil Clement and Vice Chair Charles Smith for their leadership in translating Chicago 2050 from strategy to execution. Under their guidance, WBC is aligning business attraction, sector development, and regional coordination around measurable outcomes. One of the first strategies launched is called
And you were just listening to Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson giving an update on the Chicago 2050 plan, which is going to be used to attract even more large businesses here to the Chicago area.
The big news this morning is that we have been named the top U.S. metro. So he was going over some of the economic boom types of headlines there. The airport now being the busiest airport again. It used to be. Going back to being the busiest airport, and then also talking about moving the economy forward here. So we shall see. He's going to continue on with that. We'll play that online and take some clips of that throughout the day. But we are following some breaking news in Gresham that we want to get to right now with our own say.
We're getting reports of shots fired at Chicago police. Saquon is live on the scene with the latest. Good morning, Say.
Hey, good morning. Well, things have certainly developed over the last half hour or so. I'll step aside so you can see investigators are now making their rounds. They've actually started putting evidence markers on the ground here as they, of course, wait for this investigation to kind of start. We have not necessarily seen any tow trucks or anything like that quite yet, which is going to be big because obviously that car has rolled over. It's on its side currently. It's actually on a sidewalk right now. And you can see there are two other cars that may have been involved in this as well. The black SUV there with the back window smashed out. And then this gray Ford sedan as well with some damage to the front end there. We also know that there is, we've seen some shell casings here in this area. We also saw a gun on the ground. That's actually right where an evidence marker has been placed, right by that police officer over there. So there's going to be a lot to comb through when it comes to this investigation. We also know that they're likely going to be combing through some surveillance footage as well. There's actually a Chicago police surveillance camera right above where that car rolled over. And keep in mind too, these are surrounded by apartment buildings that also have surveillance cameras. So likely going to be a big focus here in this investigation. As you mentioned though, we do know that there are reports of shots being fired. We have not been able to confirm that information, and we also don't necessarily know if that's connected to this rollover crash as well. We have reached out to Chicago police. They have said in the last 20 minutes or so that they will release more information when they can get it. But this is what we're seeing right now. Once again, investigators are here now kind of combing through some of the evidence. They're making their rounds, but this is going to be something that will take definitely a few hours, especially if they want to open this road back up. This happened a little bit after 6 o'clock this morning, and we know that 76th is closed all the way down. So in order for them to be able to open this back up, of course, a tow truck needs to get here to clear all of these cars out of the way. We are still waiting for that investigation. We've also asked Chicago police for that footage right above. Back to you guys.
Say thank you. Could be a prolonged investigation, everyone, so be mindful of that in that area. Services continue this week for the late Reverend Jesse L. Jackson.
Today he will lie in honor in his native state of South Carolina. And then on Friday, he'll be back here in Chicago. The public homegoing service will be held at the House of Hope on East 114th Street. A private service will be held at the Rainbow Push headquarters on Saturday. Right now, the service in D.C. has been postponed to a later date. And a tribute for Reverend Jesse Jackson was held at St. Sabina over the weekend. This is video from the Sunday morning worship service where Father Michael Flager brought in scholar Dr. Michael Eric Dyson to talk about his friend.
The honoring of a man who should have been honored all while he breathed in this existence. is now being celebrated. He ran for president in '84 and '88. Obama was a great man, but he was made possible by this man. He transformed the political landscape with his 2 runs. It's a prayer.
Reverend Jesse Jackson died on February 17th at the age of 84.
Well, one of the things that he is most known for is registering literally millions of people across the country during his lifetime. I believe it's about 6 million people. And early voting in the primary election opens today across Chicago's 50 wards, so you need to get back out and vote. People have already been casting their ballots at the downtown super site on State Street and at the Board of Elections offices on West Washington Street. You can register to vote same day at each early voting site. The most important thing, of course, is just that you vote.
Yes, it is. And it is the second day of March, and there's already about to be a third blood moon of the year. It's going to happen early tomorrow morning. It will be this shade of red because there is a lunar eclipse tomorrow. If it's clear, you should catch a glimpse around 4 in the morning tomorrow morning, just as we're getting ready for Good Day.
If it's clear.
If it's clear. That is the case.
Begs the question.
As we check in with Caitlin, is it going to be clear to see this tomorrow morning, Caitlin?
Clouds are building tonight, and I'm wondering now that we mention it, if that's why Kaplan's off tonight.
Ooh, to get some good pictures.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe. He's the photographer in the group. All right, talking about the weather today, it is beautiful. We've got sunshine. Right now we're sitting in the 20s and 30s, 33 degrees at O'Hare, 30 at the lakefront, freezing in Gary, and 29 in DeKalb. Temperatures today are going to be in the low to mid 40s in most spots, upper 40s expected in southwestern counties. So it is going to be a lovely and more mild day compared to where we were yesterday. And we're holding on to the sunshine all day long, which I encourage you to soak in because I mentioned how the clouds are building tonight. We do expect mostly cloudy skies with the chance for some precipitation. It's not out of the question that a few spots get slick tonight into early tomorrow as temperatures drop to the upper 20s and low 30s. Tomorrow's high back to 42 degrees with mostly cloudy skies and the chance for rain, especially south of Chicago. 7-day forecast temperatures, they're on the way up. 48 degrees expected on Wednesday. Thursday, 53 and 64 on Friday. Chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms. Starting Tuesday night, we could see a few thunderstorms on and off all the way through the end of the week. And then this weekend, temperatures will be in the low 60s, so it's going to be mild, but we do have the chance for wet weather, especially on Saturday. So in the meantime today, it is going to be a quiet day of weather. Mostly sunny skies are expected, and those temperatures are going to be about 10 degrees warmer than we were yesterday to give you some perspective comparing the two. And then as mentioned, we're staying in the low 40s tomorrow before we start to ramp things up through the end of the week. It is 9:17. We have so much more ahead. Stay with us.
Brooks University.
Welcome back, everyone. It's 9:20, and in this ongoing affordable housing crisis, one woman is making it her mission to help make home ownership possible for families on Chicago's West Side and across the city. Jasmine Hagan is joining me right now to talk about how she's working to revitalize her community. Good morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I love what you're doing. And so I'm proud to say that you are filling this missing middle. Tell me a little bit more about that cause.
Absolutely. The Missing Middle Initiative is an initiative backed by this current administration from Mayor Johnson. It's built to really focus on that missing middle real estate gap. You know, the traditional architecture that Chicago was founded on, 2 to 6 units here in Chicago, especially in communities like North Lawndale, South Side, and things like that.
How hard has it been to get this effort going?
It's been a challenge, to be quite frank. These communities are communities that typically have faced decades of disinvestment, right? So not only do we have to build the case and the story of why this is important, but we also have to convince and, you know, literally paint a picture to the investors as to why they should invest. So I'm very grateful. We've had some amazing partnerships with the City of Chicago. We received over $4 million in grant funding to build 27 units in North Lawndale, and as well as we had some amazing partnership with the Staines Family Foundation to come in and be also a gap lender as well.
Congratulations on it all. You know, I'm looking at you. We're in Women's History Month.
Absolutely.
And you are a woman who is on the move, doing wonderful things. Just tell me about that. I mean, you're kind of in a field that you don't see a whole lot of women.
Absolutely. So I'm somewhat of a unicorn, but I don't want it to stay that way.
Amen.
So I'm really grateful for the opportunity, and I take it as a responsibility for myself to teach the next generation. Not only is there a gap in the missing middle, but there's also a gap in this next generation of leaders, developers, women getting in the field of construction as well as development. So that's essentially my responsibility, the plight that I'm taking on, and trying to be a representation that if I can do it, you can do it too.
I love it. Yeah, and I think that's such a great message for young women and men to hear right now. Tell me a little bit about your background and how you ended up in this field.
Absolutely. I'm a a trained commercial real estate professional. I've worked, I graduated from Spelman College, but I'm a CPS graduate. And so I went away to college, came back, had an amazing career in commercial real estate, but I wanted to be more connected to my community. I wanted to focus on community development. So growing up on the West Side and actually living in the West Side, again, I felt it was my responsibility to actually be that change agent, because I could look around and see all the beautification that is possible, right? I have this immense pride for my neighborhood, but also this possibility, all these vacant lots, abandoned buildings, what can we do with it? So I really took that charge on and did something about it.
And it is really reimagining when you see a vacant lot, and you do see more people who are saying, like, well, no, we can turn this around, especially the vacant lots in North Lawndale. There are so many.
Absolutely. It's a safety concern, right? When we have more housing, we have a safer communities, as well as we produce and help to build economic development within the local residents. So it's not a displacement, it's an empowerment of the local community stakeholders. And what we build, and we focus on multi-units. So these are 3-family units, 4-family units. That's actually a wealth building tool, right? So it helps with affordability for the community stakeholders, but also helps them to build wealth and to live and rent at the same time.
Well, again, congratulations on it all. I hope that we can continue, you know, once they're all built up, continue to go back and see all of the development happening there. It's needed, and we appreciate you being the change agent that you are.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's not just me alone. There's a lot of folks, a lot of residents, local developers that are taking on that plight, and I love to see it, and I encourage more people to step up as well.
Absolutely. Community. That's really what it's all about. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
9:25 right now, everybody. Oh, look at that picture of the sunshine shining down on us. We're going to go to break, and we'll be right back.
I'll never back down.
9:27. Chicago. All right. Happy Monday. It is going to be a beautiful day. We've got sunny skies this morning. Look at these live shots. It's glowing. The sunshine is going to carry us through the day. Temperatures are going to be fabulous as well. We are climbing into the low and mid 40s today, so warmer than we were yesterday, and we get the sunshine, which is kind of where I want to start. I know my #1 headline is warming temperatures, which I'll get to, but the sunny skies, I want you to soak it in because clouds are building tonight, and then the rest of the week is going to be mostly cloudy. We're going to be fighting with the clouds the rest of the week, and we have scattered showers expected starting tonight all the way through Saturday. But the warming temperatures, that's the silver lining. We have the 50s and the 60s in our forecast. The 40s through midweek, so today, tomorrow, then we creep back into the 50s and then the 60s, as I mentioned, as we end the week Friday, and that pushes us into the weekend as well. Right now, though, we are sitting around freezing from 32 degrees on the dot at the lakefront to Gary, 33 at O'Hare, 31 in Aurora, freezing in Morris, and 33 in Kankakee. Here's your day planner. By 1 p.m., 41 degrees. By 4, 42. So as mentioned, temperatures are going to feel pretty good today. But we do have those changes coming, including the cloud cover that's building as soon as tonight with the chance for some wet weather. So behind me, you can see our futurecast. This is 7:45. It's still nice and quiet in Chicagoland. Then here comes that precipitation. This is 2 a.m., starting to see some shades of pink. We could have mixed precipitation, and it's not out of the question that a few of you have to deal with slick roads early tomorrow, but it would be few and far between. Tomorrow during the day, we are going to have those clouds staying in place with the chance for scattered showers, especially south of I-88, and then that's going to be the case on Wednesday, too. So this is actually Tuesday night into early Wednesday. We still have that scattered rain around. So we're going to have the rounds of wet weather. In fact, a few thunderstorms possible, too, on our 7-day forecast, which no surprise when you look at these temperatures. 48 degrees on Wednesday. By Thursday, back to 53. And then Friday, 64 degrees. So we have the chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms. Thunderstorm potential starting Tuesday night on and off through Friday. And then this weekend, temperatures are going to be hovering in the low 60s with the better chance for rain being on Saturday. So today it is going to be a beautiful day. Make sure you grab your sunglasses. And yesterday it was lovely. We had the sunshine, but today we're tacking on about 10 degrees. It is just about 9:30. Brian.
Well, a former Chicago White Sox player is back here in the city, but this time he's not swinging a bat. Micah Johnson is now a best-selling author, and today he's reading his new book to fifth graders at Manny Minoso Academy, encouraging them to dream big and think beyond their limits. Thanks so much for being here.
Man, thanks for having me. It's good to be back in the city.
Yeah, we got your beautiful family over here.
Everybody's here, right?
Yeah. So you played here in Chicago with the Southsiders. Now you're back reading to students in Bridgeport. What does that situation mean to you personally?
Well, I know playing here, it taught me the effect the White Sox have on the community and how the integral part the White Sox play in the South Side. So I learned that very young when I was here. And so to be able to be here using my art, that God gave me this ability to communicate dreaming without limits to kids through my art. So that's what we're doing here today in the city.
At what point during your career did you feel like this was going to be the route you would go post-baseball? This isn't exactly, the traditional path after the game.
I went a couple years without a home run, so sorry to know, it might be time to figure something else out. And so, no, art was always the thing for me towards the end of my career as my therapy. Started as paintings. My nephew asked if astronauts could be black, so I was painting him as an astronaut, and that evolved into this character, Aku. And we've done sculptures, collaborations with New Era, MLB, the White Sox. And now the book is the next form of this character to reach kids all across the country.
Walk me through the process of creating this character. Why did you feel like it was so important to include an origin story for him?
Well, when you think about it, a lot of the characters we grew up on, that's a big company making these characters. That's Disney, that's, Space Jam, all these Bugs Bunny. Now, for me, somebody who's achieved their dreams, this is my character, my legacy for the rest of the kids all across the country. Be like, oh, I can do that. I'm a kid from Indianapolis, played Major League Baseball, right? The odds were not in my favor. I did it anyways. And so that's what this character is about, defying the odds, really kind of chasing audacious dreams. I feel like everybody can be whatever they want to be.
When kids read this book, what do you hope that they see in themselves?
Oh, the limitless possibilities that the life offers them. There is no limitations on our dreams. I grew up on 56th and Emerson, Indianapolis with nothing, right? And then we went on to achieve Major League Baseball. Now we're, books with Penguin Random House. We got sculptures in China, Hong Kong. I'm just a guy from Indianapolis, so that's what I'm trying to kids when they read Aku. it's me. It's my story, my life, and so I want kids to really resonate with that and see the possible.
What's been the reaction from some of your former teammates?
Oh, they rock with it, man. They definitely got hit up to buy a couple books, more than a couple, actually, and they've been supportive, man. They've been buying my paintings, my sculptures. A lot of them donated bulk copies of the book to organizations that they're close with because they understand the importance of this character. So it's been amazing, man, honestly.
And your playing days obviously behind you, but what does it mean for you to have the support of your former club as you go along this next journey in life?
I mean, it's huge. It's the White Sox gave me the opportunity to reach my dreams, and here they are continuing to support me now that I have gray hair. That means a lot, because they took a chance on me when I was 21 years old out of Indiana and did my thing for them, and then now to be able to come back 10 years later is a big deal.
Oh, we hear one of the little ones over.
Yeah. We got to put the food in their mouth, so we out here pushing books.
Speaking of the books, you're going to be reading to a group of fifth graders a little bit later today. What do you hope that they walk away from this experience with?
Oh, one of my favorite things to do is to go talk to the kids and immerse myself in their world. And it's just for them to see that I'm just a normal dude, like I'm just, I got family. I want them to be able to just walk away with the confidence and belief, oh, I can do something too. Maybe I want to be an engineer. Maybe I want to work for the White Sox. Maybe I want to be like you on TV, and I want them to be able to see that and walk away from today with that kind of confidence.
Is there anything, I guess, on the playing field that kind of helped create your work kind of maybe off the field as well?
Yeah, I mean, to be able to reach the level of, putting this jersey on, you got to work relentlessly. It is not a skill thing. It is a work ethic thing. And so I've learned that from a very young age from my parents, how to work hard. And that translates. I outwork people because I have big dreams. And I understand what it takes now to, it's been 5 years making art. Now I'm sitting here doing this. And so it's a work thing.
This is the next step in that dream. Where can our viewers find the book?
Anywhere books are sold, Barnes & Noble, Target. It comes out tomorrow, and so hopefully you guys really enjoy it and give 5-star reviews. Like I'm an Uber driver. I'll give you 5 stars.
All right. Mike, appreciate your time and everything you're doing for the kids of Chicago. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me out.
All right, time now 9:34. We'll be right back on Good Day Chicago.
content of this ad.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:37, and 4 school districts are partnering up to help bring parents and their students together. A noble cause, right? They want them to connect and prioritize students' mental health. The 4th annual Mental Health and Wellness Symposium kicks off this weekend, and this morning, one of the keynote speakers is joining us, Dr. John Duffy. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Anita.
I love your voice, first and foremost. I can already tell why people call you in to come and speak to both the parents and the students. Your voice calls attention. So you've released 3 bestsellers that focus really on bringing teens into a moment of thriving, not just surviving the teenage years.
Yeah, I think we're under this errant idea that the teenage years are going to be brutal. We're going to be disconnected from our teens. They're going to hate us. And in the end, none of that has to be true. If we can create something collaborative, almost conspiratorial with our teens. We're going to work together. We're going to get you through these years. I want you to have fun, but I want you to stay in the lane of health and safety. Then we're pretty good. Then we've got something going with our kids where we can work with it all the way through.
Sounds like a focus on communication skills.
Correct, Anita. It is all about communication skills. And communication skills, sometimes we think we wait for a problem and then we learn to communicate. Communication skills, good ones with kids, start way before that. It's like sitting down and watching their show with them, watching Shrinking with them, asking them, how does Snapchat work? I don't understand that. What's a vape pen? Things you don't know. But if they sense a trap, if they sense you're trying to catch me.
Hold up, wait a minute.
I know what you're up to. Then they don't. They're smart. They're savvy. They'll pull back. But if it's really open, I just want to understand you, then you're good. Then you're good.
I think in some of my girlfriends and having those types of open conversations, there are moments where they're like, I didn't even realize they knew about this. It kind of, startles them.
Well, that's a difference between when any of us were growing up and our kids is at 8, 9, 10 years old. If we don't think they know what happened yesterday or 15 minutes ago, we are fooling ourselves. So if we think we can protect our kids from the news of the day, we are fooling ourselves. We have to talk to them about it openly.
Yeah. And I do believe that, the teenage years can be, they're hormonal, there are a lot of changes. So how do you balance that?
Right. So you have to acknowledge, even if you think it's madness, that their emotions are going to go up and down wildly. You have to remember, because I think sometimes we forget when we're teenagers, what it was like for us, that oh yeah, we felt all the things, so teenagers feel all the things.
Sometimes in an hour.
Sometimes in an hour, back and forth, right? So we have to acknowledge them as we go, oh yeah, I understand you feel this way. What can we do about it? Let's collaborate, let's work together. What can we do about it? Or do we just want to feel it? I'll sit here with you.
And of course, girls and boys, there are some things, some through lines for either, but then there are some very specific ones. You have a book that's Rescuing Our Sons. Why did you specifically say, let's talk about this topic?
Briefly, post-pandemic, I noticed girls were bouncing back quickly. They were active, they were using emotional language, they were seeking out therapy, they were connecting with their friends. Boys weren't really thriving very well. There wasn't light in their eyes. And I was thinking, what's the big difference there? And part of it is, boys, we're still not raising boys with the emotional language they need in order to get through this world, right? So we need to teach them that. And some skills about resilience and competence and things that they really need to know about in order to thrive in this world.
Yeah, all very important things. So this symposium, one, I think it's awesome that it's even happening. I think it's great that you're a part of it and a voice for so many people in it. What can people expect?
So we are going to be talking about parenting in general, what's it like to parent a kid today in these stressful times where we can't look back and say, I remember social media.
Totally different.
Right, totally
different world.
And then we're going to have some breakout sessions that are specific to boys and specific to girls because parenting these different genders are very, very different exercises.
Well, I hope that people rush into the building to be there to listen to those words and to have, you know, I think it can be cathartic and a bit of a healing experience to come together in that type of setting.
100%. It's great to see parents nodding, right? All together.
Like,
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah. Great having you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
9:42, everyone. We'll be right back.
My opponent.
Mobile.
9:45 right now as we give you a live look at the nation's capital this morning. So many questions for our nation's leaders as to where we are, both here in our country and abroad. The Trump administration strike on Iran could affect the government's shutdown.
Republicans argue that the military action increases the threat of retaliatory attacks on the U.S. and domestic terrorism. They're calling on Democrats to drop their opposition and pass the funding bill for the Department of Homeland Security without the policy changes that they've been asking for. Shutdown is now entering its third week. Democrats refuse to sign off on the bill without immigration enforcement reforms. The House will hold another vote on the funding bill later this week.
It seems the First Lady will still be a part of the UN Security Council today, despite the Iran war. Melania Trump is supposed to preside over the Security Council, and the UN says it would be a first for a First Lady to take the president's chair for the Security Council session. Melania is expected to stress the importance of education in advancing world peace. She says that she has made children displaced by the Russia-Ukraine war a signature piece of her advocacy.
And today, the Supreme Court will consider whether people who routinely smoke marijuana can legally own guns. While the conservative majority Supreme Court has expanded gun rights, it also has upheld federal law disarming people who are subject to domestic violence, restraining orders. The Department of Justice argues that drug users are a similar risk. The law it is asking the court to uphold was also used in the case against Hunter Biden, who was convicted of buying a gun when he was addicted to cocaine. His father, then President Joe Biden, later pardoned him.
Well, there's new requirements in effect for people who receive SNAP benefits. More older adults have to work or perform volunteer duty for 80 hours a month to remain eligible. The age limit was increased from 54 to 64 for able-bodied people without dependents. Previous work exemptions are more strict, including for veterans and caregivers. Going forward, the caregiver exemption applies only if a dependent is younger than 14 years old. Used to be 18. Now, the changes to SNAP were a part of the Big Beautiful Bill that was passed last year. There have been some social services groups like Meals on Wheels that have created programs specifically to help people in that category. 9:47, we'll be right back.
These are serious. Only Tuesdays on Fox.
And the actor goes to... You are shining herald of Michael B. Jordan.
What a moment, what a moment, what a moment. A big night for Sinners last night at the 32nd Annual Actor Awards. It's one of the last big awards to honor the stars ahead of the biggest moment of them all, which is the Oscars coming in just a couple of weeks.
She may have been more excited than Michael B., right? Ashley DeBurkin has the full list of winners this morning.
Award season has made its stop here at the Actor Awards, where actors honor their fellow actors with, yes, the actor statue. Here are highlights from this year's show. It was a big night for Sinners and a show about making movies.
The studio!
The studio took Outstanding Ensemble in a Comedy Series. Seth Rogen won Male Actor, and the late Catherine O'Hara received Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Comedy Series. Accepting on her behalf, Rogen said O'Hara showed you can be a genius and be kind.
I've never been more proud of a group of people in my life.
In drama, The Pit took the ensemble trophy, Noah Wyle got the male actor kudos, and The Diplomats' Kerry Russell won female actor.
Up on the marquees.
The show was hosted for a third time by Kristen Bell.
It's a little weird to be getting a Lifetime Achievement Award at the half point of my career.
Harrison Ford was honored with the SAG-AFTRA Life Achievement Award. On the film side, Sinners won the top title of Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture. Per Variety, Ryan Coogler made history, becoming the first director of 2 Best Ensemble winners with this and Black Panther.
Mom, thank you.
Michael B. Jordan won Male Actor in a Leading Role, and among those he thanked, his date for the night, his mom.
Categorically changed by so many people in this room.
Hemnet's Jessie Buckley took Female Actor in a Leading Role, while supporting wins went to One Battle After Another's Sean Penn and Aunt Gladys herself, Weapons star Amy Madigan. Wow! That's a wrap on the Actor Awards. Next stop, the Oscars. In Los Angeles, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Only at Ashley's Orange Days.
All right, 9:55 on this sunny Monday. I was going to say warm. It's not really warm. This afternoon, we're going to be in the 40s, okay? We've got a big show coming up. First of all, a new children's book is encouraging kids to dream big while teaching them about the importance of self-expression. So we're going to be talking to an author with the new book coming out.
Also, we are going to be talking to a jobs expert about navigating the current job market here in the U.S., these questions about AI.
Yep.
We're going to break down all of that and talk about a new report where Illinois ranks among most sinful states.
Yeah.
Sinful states.
And we'll explain what that means
in the
exactly.
country. Yeah, how do we gauge sinfulness?
Right.
We'll talk about all that coming up.